In 2025, the name of the lead magnet game has changed. What people are willing to exchange their email address for has changed. Today, I'm breaking down the top 3 mistakes I see realtors make when they are creating lead magnets and how you can fix them. And I'm going to talk about all of that in today's episode of In Mel's Mind. So let's dive in. Mistake number 1 is something I like to call the so what lead magnet, meaning people are saying, so what, when they see it? Why would I want that? Why do I need that? And a perfect example of this are the omnipresent buyer and seller guides out there. Seems like every single real estate agent has a buyer or seller guide that they're using as a lead magnet. And in 2025, that's just not going to work. It's sort of like back in the day when everybody was offering free home evaluations. And eventually it was sort of like, well, it's not free if everyone's offering it. It's just a so what. Obviously, you're going to give me a free home evaluation. That's part of the process. You're not going to charge me for a home evaluation. We all know that. So you can't trick me with the word free anymore. And it kind of is the same idea with the buyer and seller guides where it's not specific enough for them to want it. If they see them everywhere, if they see every other agent offering it, they can either get it for free from them without having to swap over their email address, or it's just so overdone, they see them everywhere that they don't see it as special enough to hand over their email address. Don't get me wrong, I love a good buyer and seller guide, and I think it's amazing for client marketing collateral. So when you have client and you're onboarding them, for sure you can give them this. When you show up at a listing appointment, absolutely leave your seller guide behind. Of course, that is still a really great thing to have, but not as a lead magnet, and definitely not as a list builder. You can still have it as a lead magnet, but if you're using it as your only one, the one that's front and center, the one that you're hoping will build your list, not going to happen. So what's the fix? What do you do instead? You need to get hyper specific. You need to solve your ICA's pain point as it stands right now, this year, at this time. What are they Googling? What are they looking for? What do they want? What do they need? What are their biggest pain points? What's keeping them up at night? That is a lead magnet that will actually convert. So for example, if your ICA, your ideal client avatar, is a single mom looking for a semi-detached home in whatever your city is, that would be your lead magnet. 10 best neighborhoods in Chicago, Toronto, wherever, for single moms looking for detached or semi-detached homes. I know that sounds incredibly specific and you're thinking, I'm really niching down here. But if this is your ideal client, if these are the people who you generally work with and like to work with and want to attract more of, it needs to be this specific. Other examples, if you are working with first-time home buyers, best lofts in East Vancouver for first-time buyers who hate cookie-cutter condos. Or if your ICA are families with school-aged children, the school zone checklist every Toronto parent should have before buying. Or my personal favorite, urban pet owners, me, obsessed dog moms, me, looking for their next home. I have to say that any kind of lead magnet that's directed towards my dogs that I love more than life itself would automatically pique my interest. And I am not alone in this. So this lead magnet, the 12 most pet-friendly condo buildings in downtown Montreal, that's what your ICA is looking for, this would absolutely be a high converting lead magnet. I'm not looking for just any condo. My biggest issue are the ones that aren't pet-friendly. The last thing I would want to do is move into a condo with 2 small dogs when there's no other dogs in that building. I want to move in someplace that my dogs are welcome. So it is a huge deal, and it is how you connect with your audience. Do you see how specific, but also how intentional and how wonderful these lead magnets are, because they're so dialed in to what people actually care about, to what they actually are looking for, to what they actually want, to the questions and pain points that they're Googling and searching and wanting? You're getting really specific with what it is that they need and are probably having a hard time finding. Mistake number 2, creating a lead magnet that has Googleable content, meaning your ideal client can find it by typing in a question into Google. So 5 staging tips to avoid, 5 steps to buying a home, how to buy a condo in insert city. So if I'm typing in pet-friendly condos in Montreal and I'm getting a whole bunch of results for that, that's not a good lead magnet. So always cross-check your content content with things like Google and YouTube and Pinterest where people are searching for things, because you don't want your lead magnet to be a so what. So we want to make sure that our content inside of our lead magnet is unique, it is specific, and it is personalized, meaning when they do get it, they're getting an entire experience that is unique to you, your stories. If you have dogs and you've had this struggle, we want to hear about that in the lead magnet. You want to include your personal stories, your anecdotes, stories from clients, things that make this uniquely your content that nobody can touch. The reason why we want to stay away from Googleable content is because when I hand over my email address, I am trusting that what you've promised to give me is good, is worth me handing over something that's so sacred, because you never really know what's going to happen when you hand over an email address. You kind of trust the process, but you're also a little bit like, oh, I hope they don't sell my email address to a spam list. I hope I'm not signing up for something that's not valuable. And when you give really lackluster content, when it's not really, really good content, what ends up happening is that you break their trust immediately. They've handed you their email and then you handed them back something that they could have easily just found on Google. It's not enough. And they're going to be disappointed, one, they're going to unsubscribe immediately, two, or they're going to put you into spam because they're so angry, and that's just going to put a black mark on your email, meaning it will end up in more and more inboxes as spam. So you're not doing yourself any favors by throwing together a lead magnet really quickly without being super duper intentional. And here's the trick that I always use whenever I'm creating a lead magnet. There can be this idea in our minds when we're creating lead magnets where it's like, but I don't want to give away all of my knowledge. I don't want to give away my best stuff. And that idea is holding you back from actual conversion, because it's your best stuff that will convert. So I always ask myself, if I wasn't holding back, what else would I say? Gives me that little push that I need to give them just a little bit more value, because when you do give that kind of value, definitely they notice. You want them thinking, I cannot believe she gave me this for free. I can't believe this is free. This is amazing. That's how you keep people on the list. That's how you keep people engaged and excited to get your next email. Mistake number 3 is outdated formats. I hate to break it to you, but the name of the lead magnet game has changed. And in 2025, people are not as readily turning over their email address for PDFs. People aren't looking for homework. They're not looking for long-winded paragraphs in PDFs that they just don't have time to read. In 2025, our attention spans are short. So if they download something that looks like homework, they're out. But this is actually really good news for us, because now we're given the opportunity to create way better lead magnets that are interactive and engaging and fun and keep them interested right off the bat. So if you are looking for ideas for lead magnets that actually work in 2025, I'm about to give you 5 that are performing really, really well right now. Let's go. Number 1, a one-page website. So this one's pretty similar to downloading a PDF, except instead of a link where they're going to download a PDF that they just don't feel like reading, you're going to send them to a page on your website that's hidden, or you can design this in Canva and publish that as a website. When they get that link, they get sent to a website instead of a PDF. And in this day and age, people are far more likely to read content on a website than they are in a PDF. So you're still going to include the same content, but you can add video and you can add animation and you can add a little bit more life than would exist inside a PDF. It's one step up from a PDF, takes a little bit more effort, but if you know how to create a PDF in Canva, you can create a website in Canva. They have tons of layouts. You just need to pop in your information. You're good. Number 2, interactive quizzes. This is such a fun one. It is a little bit more involved. It will take you some time to create a quiz, but if you have that time and you want to dedicate that time to creating a quiz, it is such a good lead magnet. It is my second best lead magnet to date. My first one was a free course, which is even more involved, but this quiz has brought in this year alone 5,000 people to my email list, if not more. It does take a little bit more work, but it is really worth it. And if you want me to create a video on how to create quizzes, just let me know in the comments below and I will walk you through how I create quizzes using Interact. It is pretty simple, but I have to say it's super fun to create a quiz, especially when you care about the results that people are going to get from that quiz. So I would be more than happy to create a video for you walking you through that. Let me know in the comments below. Number 3 is a private video or lesson that you can record, upload to YouTube and mark as unlisted. That way, no one can find it on YouTube, but you can copy copy that link and send it to people who opt in. So let's say that you have a lot of unique questions that are being asked. It's the same concept as what we talked about with mistake number 1. You want to keep things super specific. So let's use the dog example because that's my favorite one. Where to find properties that are dog friendly in Montreal, or where to find the best dog friendly condos in Montreal, I think it was. You can still use the same content, but instead of creating a PDF, instead of creating a web page, you create a video. If you're comfortable doing this, what I love about videos is that just like what's happening here, you're getting to know me a little bit, you're getting to know my quirks, you're getting to know how I speak, you're getting to know me. There is such intimacy involved when you're seeing someone on camera versus a PDF or a web page. So if you're comfortable with recording the answers to these questions, it's a great way for your potential clients to get to know you really, really quickly. And number 4, if you're not comfortable with video, could you do an audio? Could you do a private podcast or audio series where, again, you record them, you upload them to Dropbox or Google Drive, and then every email that you send them, there would be a little link with the episode that's completely private. I also love the idea of a series. I think series work really well. So if you're going to do video or audio, either one of those could be turned into a series. So if there are many questions that you have, could you bundle up all of those questions and each email that you send answers a different one? Or could you do a 5-day challenge where every day it would be like the 5-day challenge to get your home ready for sale? Working title. You could come up with a better title. But in this video series or audio series, every day you give them one task to get their home ready for sale. It's fun. It's low barrier to entry for them because they don't have to work really, really hard to get their home ready all at once. It's like 5 easy ways to get your home sell ready. Here's the challenge. Here's the 5-day challenge or 10-day challenge or whatever it is, right? And number 5 is an email series. So if you're not into video, if you're not into audio, if you're not into creating a web page or a quiz, you can easily create a web series where you give them pieces of information. Again, same idea. Like you're still being hyper specific with your content. You're just delivering it in a way that's a little bit more engaging, a little bit more interesting than here's my PDF. You're showing up every day in their inbox, which is also amazing because they're expecting your email. They want your email. They've signed up for this. They want you to show up in their inbox for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. And you get to show up and blow their mind with value. You can link to videos. You can link to resources. You can create a complete, beautiful experience for them. And doing something as simple as that, as just creating an opt-in email series, is more than enough to get them to know, like, and trust you. So I know that was a lot, and I hope now you have a better idea of how to create either your first lead magnet and with ideas that will actually work in 2025, or you have ideas of how to make better lead magnets if yours haven't been converting. And that is it, my friends, the 3 biggest mistakes that I see realtors make when they are creating their lead magnets. If you want me to create any more videos about anything that I spoke about today, things like how to create your 1-page lead magnet opt-in in Canva, things like how to create any of these lead magnets that I talked about, then please drop that below in the comments and I will be sure to make those videos for you. And just remember, if you do have lead magnets currently, I want you to ask yourself, do they speak to one clear ideal client? Is it really specific enough to attract them? Are you delivering it in an engaging way, something that's really working in 2025? And is it packed with value that they can't Google? Is anything in your lead magnet something that they could easily Google and get the answers to without having to hand over their email address? If the answer is yes, change it. It's time to create a new lead magnet. It's time to show up and serve your one ICA really, really, really well. And with that, I will say, make sure to like this video if you did. Make sure to subscribe so I can let you know when new videos come out, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.